One of the most challenging things that we can experience when going through a change in life, particularly if you're a woman in midlife, is the practice of letting go of expectations. That can be expectations of ourselves. Why don't I understand where I'm at in my life? I'm a grown woman. I've had all of these experiences. Why don't I know who I am? Why don't I know where I'm going and what I want to do? That can be a big one, and it can create a lot of self-doubt. The other thing is letting go of expectations of other people. And quite often it's such a human thing that when change happens, it can evoke a lot of unsettled feelings and fears. And the first thing that we do is to externalize. We start noticing the difference between ourselves and our thoughts compared to our husband, our wife, our partner, our family or friends. And that distance seems to become more accentuated, and we can become overly focused on how they're not doing or being according to our new expectations. And we start to see this gap growing, and it can cause anger, resentment, a desire to push away or a desire to criticize. In these moments, the best thing that you can do while you are still figuring things out, and it's okay to be doing that, is to just stop and pause, to really breathe and step back and be the observer in your life, the observer of yourself and what's going on around you. Why? Because in that place of pausing and observing, you're quietening your mind and the stories that are going on, giving yourself time, space to appreciate the reality of what is unfolding without judging. The first place we start is with ourselves. When we start to see a discrepancy of things, not matching our idea of what we think should happen or what we want, we start to judge ourselves, we start to judge others. What we need to do is to give it space to ask ourselves, what do I need to know in this moment about myself? What is triggering me to have a certain emotion? Why is it that I feel that way? What's coming up for me? What haven't I been aware of that I'm starting to become more aware of now? When we can ask ourselves better questions and take ownership for the change that's happening within us, we're in a better place to see the reality and get clarity around something. But we do need to give ourselves a little bit of compassion. Sometimes it's a little bit challenging to do this, but practicing from a place of calmness and stillness, creating that pause to observe and to ask yourself, what do I need to know in this situation? And that helps us to release expectations of ourselves and others, because expectation is a form of judgment, which of course is a form of control. And whenever we go down that pathway, we actually create a divide, we create a lot of resistance, and we're unable to see or understand what is true for us. If this is resonating for you and it's been a bit of a challenge for you recently, and you've noticed that there's more animosity or anxiety or stress or resentment between you and another person, and you need some help to bring the focus back to you, let me know. Leave a comment below. Reach out. We can have a conversation around this. Life can be a lot easier when we learn to be the observer first. Take care, my friends.